What's going on, everybody? GemMint here. Today we're going to count down my top 10 favorite statues from XM Studios, and I really wanted this to be a top 10 XM Studios statues of all time video, but again, man, it's so hard with how many great pieces they have, stuff that I've never owned, stuff from different licenses that I don't necessarily collect, so I had to just wind this video down to the top 10 most favorite pieces that I've ever had personally on this table, that I've reviewed, that I've owned, or whatever. So that's what you're gonna get today. Before we jump into this though, make sure you hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a video. We're doing a giveaway once we hit our next subscriber milestone, so make sure to stay tuned for that. While we jump into number 10 on this list, now I normally do honorable mentions, but I don't really need to do that here, and this is why. Number 10 on the list is Sandman from their Spider-Man line. The whole Spider-Man line I have such fond memories of during that time of collecting. They're all top tier pieces for characters that you probably would never have seen in quarter scale, or maybe still will never see. Characters like the Vulture or Sandman, which were all on my top 10, but ended up getting bumped down. Sandman, I'm glad to see that he still made it on the top 10. I think it's a great piece. It's super affordable. It's definitely underrated and goes under the radar. The texture on the sand's amazing. How big and massive this piece can be with all the different switch out options from sand arms to regular arms. Same with the portraits. It tells a story and something that you'll probably never see. A great pairing with any Spider-Man statue. Number 10, and shout out to all those type of lower tier characters that they made, and they're awesome storytelling pieces as well. Moving on to number 9, I had to go with the Thor, the modern version, which is basically a quarter scale diorama with him smashing the Destroyer. I'm a big Thor fan, more and more so throughout the years. The more I've been reading Thor, I've been becoming more of a fan. And I know some people are gonna say, what about the 1/3 scale? This is just an XM Studios list. I didn't want to include collaborations with Legendary Beast or Acme or anyone like that. So this Thor, man, there's a lot of great Thor statues up there. It's up there, top tier. You get a whole diorama. It's dynamic. He's got the hammer over his head, ready to smash it down. Amazing piece. Number 9 on the list, which is going to bring us on over to number 8. Now, there was a lot of debate within myself on this top 10 list. I had to say, would I rather have this piece or that piece? And when I thought about it, this one really bumped a lot out of the water. The Hulk transformation, Bruce Banner with Hulk, with the storytelling origin base in the laboratory. Amazing paint job on Hulk, and I don't think, are we ever going to see a quarter scale Bruce Banner anywhere else? So I had to put this one on the list. I've owned it. There are a lot of other great pieces that I really like, but if I had to ask myself, would I rather have that or Hulk transformation, I'd rather have the Hulk. All right, on to number 7. This is also a tough one for me, man, because it's a newer piece and it wasn't a piece that I owned. It's the Ghost Rider on horseback. I was able to review the sample piece from XM Studios, and I just had to ship it back just the other day, so it's no longer in the house, but it's an amazing, massive piece. It's a quarter scale horse with a cowboy Ghost Rider on top, which has a switch out torso to give him his Wraith look, which has ties to comic origins with both versions. Definitely a great companion to the XM Ghost Rider on bike. It's much larger than that. It could definitely be its own centerpiece. Paint applications with the fire. I'm a big fan of XM's fire, which I'll talk about more on this list as well. And even though it's a newer piece, I thought it definitely ranked in the top 10, man, and pretty high up there. All right, moving on to number 6 on the list. I think it's the only piece that's not quarter scale here, and that wasn't necessarily one of the rules, right? It's a 1/6 scale diorama, Batman Sanity. Batman Sanity is an epic, groundbreaking piece, which they've already have started other companions like the Wonder Woman piece. This one was designed by comic book artist David Finch. It's Batman surrounded by all of his villains, the Rogues Gallery, which is looking like almost like a nightmare sequence with the smoke on the bottom of the base and everything. They offered it in 2 versions, the color and the smoked out nightmare version, which to me gives it such a classy presence. That's the one that I reviewed here on this table. It wasn't mine, it belonged to a friend of mine, Dennis, aka 4 Comics, and it's definitely top tier centerpiece. He isn't even a statue collector and he bought it, and any statue collector would be happy to have this in their collection regardless of the scale, because it is such a unique kind of centerpiece of a statue. Number 6 on the list. All right, halfway on the list now. Number 5, kind of cheating here a little bit. It's 2 statues, but it was a 2-for-1. That's how it was when I bought it. XM Studios, Thanos, and Lady Death. Really more known as Mistress Death, I think, to most in the comic world, but even one of them by themselves, pick one. They're both amazing pieces, and together just makes it that much greater. Thanos with the love of his life, the reason why he kills and does all these evil, villainous things. Amazing sculpt and paint and stuff you would never have thought you would have seen in a quarter scale piece, and you probably never will moving forward from a licensed company at least. This is probably the quarter scale Thanos to own. I mean, you either want him on a throne or standing up, and those are the options. I think most people would want that standing up Thanos, ready to fight in battle, to switch out hands with the energy. Man, amazing piece, definitely deserves to be number 5. Number 4 had to make the list, man. This statue, another groundbreaker, man. Innovative, as XM always tends to be, really from piece to piece. They always seem to try something new and different. Hulkbuster, man. The Hulkbuster with Iron Man coming out of the chest, out of the cockpit, if you will. Massive, enormous quarter scale piece. It's not a statue you can move with one person. It's a 2-man job at least. And not only is the Hulkbuster huge and massive and have battle damage with a great paint job, a switch out torso where you can have the Hulkbuster standing alone, or you can have Iron Man either in the cockpit or on its standalone base. And this is probably the best comic version quarter scale Iron Man statue on the market, which is a shame because you can't buy it by itself. But yeah, I mean, that combined makes this easily in the top 5, coming in at number 4. All right, man, number 3. The top 3 is tough. It's kind of like you can juggle, and however it lands, you'd be pretty safe. But I had to make a decision. For number 3, I gave it to Dark Phoenix. Absolutely love this statue. It's got to be not only a top tier X-Men piece, but a top tier XM Studios piece. The paint job, again, I love how XM Studios does painted fire. Absolutely nailed the storytelling aspect of this, with the Phoenix made out of flames coming from behind her, which you can actually choose to display or not depending on space. Then you have Jean, the gold and red costume, the evil, the most villainous version of the Phoenix, the Dark Phoenix, with great portraits. I love the fire and the hair portraits. Man, love this piece. Now, the reason why I think I put it number 3 is because it's not really a piece, although you could, that you would buy to be like a centerpiece. You definitely would pair her with other X-Men. I doubt you'll see many collectors just rocking Dark Phoenix and that's it. Not to say they're not out there or that you couldn't, but I think that's why I didn't bump her up a little bit higher, and I guess that'll make more sense as we go along. Moving on to number 2, I was gonna say Dark Phoenix is maybe the top tier X-Men piece as well, but nah, you got to give it to the Magneto on Throne, man. Now, this might just be me. In my mind, I feel like Magneto on Throne was their answer to Doctor Doom on Throne. And then Thanos on Throne was the answer to Magneto on Throne. But wow, man, talk about a storytelling base. The throne made out of the defeated Sentinel hand with Magneto lounging, full costume, cape and all. The switch outs with the helmet portrait, with the unhelmeted portrait, if you will. The storytelling and innovation here was just next level, and it would be copied for years and years to come, to the point where we don't even want to see anybody sitting down on thrones anymore. Although they still are coming, and even recent releases have been cool with the throne concept. But man, this is the one that I feel like it might not have been the first on throne piece, but I think it definitely was the one that caught everyone's attention and set that trend and started that wave. Before we jump into number 1, my favorite XM Studio statue of all time, I want to thank Dynamite Entertainment for sponsoring this video. Guys, make sure to check out their new comic book releases this week, May 4th. They have 4 titles coming out: Dynamite Never Dies Issue 3, Panther Issue 3, Red Sonja, Red Sitha Issue 1, and Project Superpowers Fractured States Issue number 2. All right, guys, now a lot of you probably have seen this coming, and I went with the XM Studios Ghost Rider on bike, the OG, the piece that I recently bought back, my original piece. And the reason why I think I put it over Dark Phoenix and even over Magneto is because it can be a standalone centerpiece. You can have that, boom, by itself, and that's it. You don't really need to pair it with anything else. Up until recently, you really couldn't, until now you have the newer Ghost Rider on horseback by XM. Yeah, sure, you could have paired it with Moon Knight or other maybe like street level characters, but wow, talk about innovative. I don't think it's really been duplicated to the same level yet, man. The quarter scale bike rising up from hell on this incline, him cocked back, seemingly laughing and cackling. Amazing statue with so much presence in that painted orange fire. At the time, translucent resin was a big thing, and I think there was even a prototype picture floating around of this piece with the translucent resin. So glad they chose to go with paint and with the subsequent fire pieces as well, because that orange is so vibrant and so rich, and it just takes it to another level, man. My favorite XM Studios piece, Ghost Rider on bike. I appreciate you guys sticking around to the end to watching this. Let me know your favorite XM statues in the comments down below. Which ones did I miss that really should have made this list? And stay minty fresh, y'all. Peace.